Good afternoon, YouTubers. This is Javon Unplugged, and I want to take a little bit of time to kind of share my thoughts and perspectives on the topic that's pretty much spread like wildfire through everybody's work center, every barbershop, every beauty supply shop, every news and media outlet is covering this, and it seems like everyone has an opinion on it. So, again, I just want to throw in my 4 cents, and the topic is what do we do about this perceived police brutality here in America? Well, let me first start out by saying that I'm an educator. So with me, everything starts with education. And what I feel is that there is a lack of proper education, i.e. a disconnect between the American citizen, the average everyday American citizen, and law enforcement officials, meaning that um, in this country, ignorance of the law is not a justifiable defense when you break a law. But to the best of my knowledge, there really isn't a way for us average citizens to kind of get an understanding about every single law that we're expected to adhere to. So for me, it's very, very simple. This is not by any means the cure for this problem we have, but this is, in my opinion, a positive step that needs to take place in order to start moving us forward away from this divide we're currently experiencing. So let me put it to you in simple terms. In the classrooms, we like to use what's called multiple means of representation, which means that some people they learn better by seeing things. Sometimes other people will learn better by doing things. Some people are auditory learners. Some people are visual learners. And what I found to be something that most educators realize is that you have to be able to use technology in the classrooms in order to really succeed in imparting knowledge and wisdom on the students. So let's take the same concept and let's apply it to the average everyday citizen. As I said, we're all expected to adhere to all the laws that the United States says that we have to adhere to, but I don't think that we understand or even know or even have access to all the laws. I'm sure we can tune in to C-SPAN or something like that. I'm sure there's some website tucked somewhere in the World Wide Web that gives you information about the local laws, but why not use something very common sense, which is we know in this day and age everyone seems to be tethered to their cell phone. So with that being said, why can't we come up with some way to put together a app that pretty much has a list of all of the laws for every single city, county, state, the national laws that we're all as citizens expected to adhere to? How come we can't find a creative way to digitize that in a way in which people can receive this information right to their handheld device? I mean, everyone has their phones out. So as we see on TV, when something takes place, we quickly pull our cell phones out and we start recording things. But why not try to be a little more preemptive, and why not take the opportunity to educate and become smarter so that we can make smarter decisions? Now, there's two parts to this in my opinion. One is what the average everyday citizen should do. I think that if I had the ability to download an app that spoke about all of the laws and all of the most common infractions that people do on a day-to-day basis, what we should and what we shouldn't do, and it talked about different situations in which a lot of people find themselves in and what the do's and don'ts are, I think that it would be a tool that I could use as an educator and as a parent. I could sit my kids down and allow them to view this app and go right to the horse's mouth and find out exactly what it is that we're expected to do anytime we're being stopped. I mean, simple things that I've experienced is that a lot of people don't really know the difference between being arrested or being detained. So being able to be transparent, as the talking heads on TV talk about, starts with connecting to average everyday people. And the device that we use for transparency the most is our cell phone. So why not do that? Also, why not have law enforcement officials actually have a hand in the creation of the different videos that will be on the app, so that they're actually stepping away from that blue wall of silence in a way in which they're not necessarily outing any particular law enforcement agent, but they can go through do's and don'ts on what we as citizens should expect of law enforcement officials when they come into our community. Why not have interactive videos in which it's just like a multiple choice test where you see a little video and then you say, okay, in this instance, should you do A, B, C, or D, and then allow the viewer to choose from that variety and then show the consequences or the proper action and what the results are from it. What we have is the ability to connect knowledge to people in a meaningful way so that we can make better choices. But sometimes I feel like the powers that be would rather have us in the situation we're in now, where we're having these dialogues in barbershops or in churches or talking to the average person out at the beach or wherever you're at when you're having a discussion about how this country is dealing with the negative press from how we're being policed. But it's very simple to me. You can have video logs. You can have it as interactive as Facebook. Why not look at what successfully people gravitate to now? Why not look at what captures the attention of our young folks now and find a way to incorporate that into a message that educates them, that empowers them, and also gives them a level of responsibility that kind of matches the level of responsibility that we're asked our police officers to adhere to. So it's a two-way street. And again, this is not a way in which we're going to have a quick fix, but we have to start somewhere. So we start with the disconnect. We start with the fact that I've been on this earth 39 years and I don't know every single law that I'm supposed to follow in the city in which I live in. I would take the time to go to a website if I knew the website. And like I said before, there may be a website out there, but it's not being pushed. It should be pushed in between 2 or 3 commercials that's selling us some poison to put into our bodies, or selling us some liquor, or is advertising for us to go and buy a car that we don't need, or any of these other frivolous things that we're being bombarded with every time we turn on a TV screen. If I knew of a website, I would be an advocate for it. I would push it in my classroom. I would tell it to everyone I know. I would be on it as much as I can. And hell, I would even make a video like this promoting it. But it has to start there. We have the technology. We have people out there that are able to be creative and to digitize things in a way in which it's interactive, in a way in which people can jump into it and they don't feel like they're reading a huge 300-page book of laws and statutes and things like that. I think that we could actually make this very, very simple so that a caring and concerning parent and educator like myself could sit my son or my daughter down and say, hey, listen, let's get on this app and let's go through it and let's look at the do's and don'ts. Let's look at the things that under no circumstances should you ever do. I will even give you my expectations. And then conversely, it would also give them an opportunity to see that there are good police out there that are interested in doing the good job and are there for the good fight. There are police officers out there that have sworn the oath to protect and serve us, the people, not necessarily to protect and serve each other. They do exist. And I do understand that we're being lulled to sleep with these things that make us feel helpless and make us feel like we're never ever going to see things eye to eye. But here's an opportunity to come together. So if there's someone out there that's looking for a way to make a quick $1 million, that want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, or somebody that wants to, that's in the tech world, that's thinking of a new app in which they want to try and patent and create, come up with an app that actually holds all of the laws, statutes, regulations, what have you, for each and every state. Put it into an interactive way in which the average person can log on and they're not lulled to sleep with pages and pages of words. Get right to the point. Come up with the top 10, top 20, top 100 things that most people don't know that you should or should not be doing. Come up with something that uses video so that people that are visual learners can see for themselves. Come up with something that allows us to go through different scenarios and see what works and what doesn't work. And lastly, come up with something that the government has to be able to get behind and can't make excuses about how it won't work and how we're sitting here talking bad about the police, but no one's doing something about it. Someone, please, hear these words coming out of my mouth. Take these ideas, put it into something that we can actually package, and as consumers, we can actually take and incorporate into our lives. And please help an educator, a father, a husband, to come up with a way in which I can go to sleep at night feeling like my kids are safe and myself is safe and everyone that I know is going to be safe. That's all I have. Thank you.